I lean back in my chair and say, Daniel, this place still smells like the old days? He laughs and drops onto the couch. Your bedroom lab, he says. We built a dream out of wires. I smile because I want to believe him. I say, we really did. I trust you with it. He bumps my shoulder. We're brothers, he says. You and me against the world. I repeat the word brothers quietly, like it might protect me. Maya peeks in and says, you two sound proud. I grin. I am. I tell him everything. Maya says, then don't hide your fear. I ask, you can see it? She nods. Daniel waves it off. He worries too much. Let me handle the money. You build. I'll guard the gates. I say, you want the finances? He shrugs. Who else? I hear myself answer, yes, I trust you. The words feel heavy, but I pretend they don't. At dinner, my mom asks, are you happy? I say, I am, Mom. My dad says, proud of you, son. Lily beams. You're my hero. I look at the table and whisper, I just don't want to lose this. My mom touches my hand. Talk to Daniel if you worry. I nod. Later, I tell him, sometimes I feel like the floor might break. He laughs. Then I'll hold it up. I ask, promise? He says, always. I want to believe him more than anything. My heart says, be careful. My mouth says, thank you. We stay up late planning. He says, investors will listen to me. I know how to talk. I say, good. I'll focus on code. He says, teamwork. I echo, teamwork. Maya sits beside me. Just don't forget to sleep, she says. I kiss her cheek and say, I won't. Daniel grins. He never sleeps. That's why I'm here. One night I whisper, do you ever doubt me? He shakes his head. Never. Why? I say, because I doubt myself. He leans forward. Then lean on me. I nod. Okay. Lily texts me, you're amazing. I text back, I'm trying. Maya asks, if he holds the money, what do you hold? I say, the dream. She looks unsure. Just make sure it's shared. I laugh, a little too loud. It is. Inside, a storm taps quietly, but I close the window. When Daniel sends the new account forms, I sign them. He says, you won't regret it. I force a smile. I hope not, he says. Trust me, I answer. I already do. That night I lie awake and talk to the dark. I've given him everything, I murmur. The dark gives no answer. My heart beats like a quiet drum. I repeat the word trust until it feels empty and thin. Still, I choose it. I always choose it. In the morning, Lily knocks and says, you look tired. I say, I'm fine. She frowns. Promise me you'll be safe. I answer, Daniel is my friend. My mom calls from the kitchen. Eat first. My dad mutters, trust is a gift. I reply, I already gave it. Daniel phones me and says, big things are coming. I laugh. Then I'll be ready. He answers, we're unstoppable. I whisper, brothers. He agrees, brothers. I hang up and stare at the ceiling. My voice trembles. Please don't let me fall. The room stays silent, and the silence feels like a promise I never signed. I breathe out and say, if I fall, I will stand again. My heart answers softly, not yet. I close my eyes and trust him anyway. I open my banking app at midnight and say, no, this can't be real. I blink hard. I whisper, everything is gone. My chest burns and I call Daniel. I say, pick up. The line rings forever. I call again. Daniel, answer me. I text him, the money is missing. No reply. I pace the room and tell myself, stay calm. Then rent bounces and I choke. My parents could lose their home because of this. I grab my keys and race to the office. I shout, Daniel, are you here? Only silence answers. I run to his desk. The drawers are empty. I whisper, you cleaned it out. I call Maya. Please talk to me, I say. Her phone keeps ringing until the call dies. I say, why won't you answer me? Panic presses on my lungs like stone. I drive across the city and I keep saying, he wouldn't do this. He wouldn't. But the words feel weak. I finally find him outside a bright restaurant. I walk up fast and say, we need to talk. He smiles like nothing is wrong. I ask, where is the money? He shrugs. Relax, it's business. I stare at him and my voice cracks. Business? You drained every account. He sips his drink and says, you always panic. I shake and say, you stole from me. He answers, prove it. The words hit like a hammer. I look past him and see Maya standing in the doorway. I whisper, Maya, please tell me this isn't what it looks like. She lowers her gaze and stays silent. I beg, did you know? My voice shakes. Daniel laughs softly. You should have read the papers you signed, I say. You tricked me. I trusted you. He replies, trust is your problem, not mine. I feel the world tilt. I hold the table and say, my parents' house is on the line. Everything I saved is gone. He smiles. That's unfortunate. I turn to Maya again. Tell me you didn't help him. She whispers, I can't. The words slice open my chest. I breathe like I'm drowning and say, both of you chose this. Daniel nods. Walk away. I answer. I won't. I will fight for what you took. He leans back and says, then fight. You'll lose, I whisper. You were my brother. He grins. Not anymore. I step back because my legs feel weak. I say, one day you will regret this. He says, we'll see. I look at Maya one last time. Say something, I plead. She whispers, I'm sorry. I feel my heart crack, but I still ask. Why? She answers, I was afraid. I turn away because I can't stand there anymore. I say to myself, everything is ruined. Cars pass by and their noise sounds far away. I wrap my arms around myself and whisper, breathe. But the air refuses to enter. I call his phone one more time even though he stands right there. I watch his screen light up. He presses decline without breaking that calm mask. I say, you ended my life in a single night. He murmurs, no, you ended it when you trusted me. I stand frozen in the doorway and feel a scream rising, but no sound leaves my throat. I whisper, this isn't over. Then I walk into the night and tell myself, I will survive, even if it breaks me. My world hangs by thread, I feel it snap. I stand in the rain and tell myself, ask her again. I say, Maya, please talk to me. She breathes out and finally says, I'm with Daniel now. The words hit like fists, and I whisper, you chose him over me. She answers, you were too safe, too small. I say, I loved you. She looks away and murmurs, I wanted more. Daniel steps closer and says, she made her choice. I feel my ribs break inside my chest, and I gasp, you took everything. He smirks like my pain feeds him and says, prove it. I repeat, prove it, and the words echo in my skull. I say, you stole my company, my money, and my heart. Maya whispers, please don't shout. I answer, I'm not shouting, I'm breaking. Rain runs down my face and I think, maybe I should step into traffic. I hear my own voice beg, tell me why. She says, I was tired of waiting. I choke, waiting for what? She sighs, for you to become bigger. I whisper, I thought love was enough. Daniel laughs, love doesn't pay bills. I stare at him and say, neither does betrayal, not forever. He shrugs, we'll see. I turn away because I can't breathe anymore. I walk through the dark streets and whisper, I don't want to go home. Another voice inside me says, go home anyway. I stand on the corner and watch the cars pass, and I think how easy it would be to step forward. I say, not tonight, and I keep walking. When I reach the house, my mom opens the door and says, what happened? I fall into her arms and whisper, you took everything. She says, you're still here. I answer, barely. My dad sits at the table looking pale and silent. I tell him, Daniel and Maya are together. He rubs his face and says, I'm sorry, son. Lily runs in with tears on her cheeks and cries, how could they do that to you? I hold her and whisper, I don't know. I sit on the couch and stare at the wall. My mom says, try to sleep. I answer, I can't. She asks, what do you hear? I whisper, his voice. I close my eyes and repeat the words I heard. Prove it. The phrase circles like a fly inside my head. I press my hands over my ears and mumble, stop. But the echo stays. I say, he took my work, my future, and the girl I trusted. My dad says, we will stand with you. I nod and reply, thank you, even though the comfort cannot touch the empty space inside my chest. Night passes slowly. I stare at the ceiling and talk to the dark. Why wasn't I enough? The dark gives no answer. I whisper, I would have given her everything. I hear Daniel again, prove it, and my heart folds in on itself. I sit up in bed and say, I will prove something else. I will prove I can live without you. My voice sounds thin, but it is still mine. I get a glass of water and whisper, "This pain is real, but it will not own me forever." Then I add, "One day you will hear my silence, and it will frighten you." I lie back down and watch the window glow with weak morning light. I whisper, "I am still here, even with his voice inside me at night." I sit at the kitchen table and whisper, "I feel like a cracked cup." My mom says, "We'll get the truth, no matter how long it takes." I ask, "How?" She answers, "Piece by piece." My dad folds his hands and says, "I will help you, even if I must sell my tools." I shake my head. "I can't let you do that." He replies, "You're my son. Let me carry some of the weight." Lily pulls a chair close and says, "I'm not leaving you alone tonight." I smile weakly and say, "You never do." She takes my hand. "Tell me when the voice starts again." I nod. "It's always there," I whisper. My mom sighs, "He will regret this." I say, "I still pray he feels guilty, but I know he doesn't." The doorbell rings and I say, "That must be Jonah." I open the door. He looks worried and says, "I thought you might need company." I answer, "I do." "Come in." We sit. He says, "I saw strange things before Daniel left." I ask, "What kind of things?" He brings tea and says, "Drink this." I laugh softly. "You're acting like the big sister." She says, "Tonight I am." My mom repeats, "We'll get the truth." I breathe in the steam and say, "I want my life back." My dad replies, "You will rebuild." Jonah leans forward. "I can help you gather records." I ask, "Why help me?" He says, "Because I saw how loyal you were, and I won't pretend I didn't." I feel tears rise and say, "Thank you." Lily whispers, "Family doesn't end at blood." My mom nods. He sits at our table. That makes him ours. The night grows quiet. I say, "Please stay a while longer." Jonah answers, "I'm not leaving until you sleep." I admit, sleep is hard. My dad stands and says, "I will check the locks." I smile. "You always do." My mom pulls a blanket around my shoulders and says, "You're safe here." I close my eyes and reply, "I wish my heart knew that." Radio inside my mind. I sit down hard and say, "So it's true. He never felt sorry." Lily touches my arm. "He was proud of what he did to you." I whisper, "I prayed he felt guilty, but I knew he didn't." My mom walks in and asks, "Why are you both pale?" I answer, "Lily heard Daniel's thoughts." My mom freezes. "That's impossible." Lily whispers, "I thought so too." My mom hugs her and says, "Whatever this is, you're safe here." I whisper, "Safe doesn't feel real anymore." That night I hear a car outside. My mom looks out the window and says, "He's parked near the street." I say, "Don't let him see you." She still peeks. Then she gasps. I rush over and ask, "What happened?" She whispers, "I heard him too." I feel the room tilt. "What did you hear?" She answers, "He thought, they're still scared. Good. They should be." I whisper, "So it's not only Lily." My mom nods slowly. "His mind leaks like poison." I hold the back of a chair and say, "I finally know who he really is." Fear crawls through my chest, but truth crawls with it. My dad comes home late and I say, "Please listen before you laugh." He sits down and I tell him everything. He rubs his face and says, "I wish this was a joke." Then a horn sounds outside. He looks out the window and stares at the street. I ask, "Do you see him?" My dad says, "Yes, and I hear him." I whisper, "What is he thinking?" My dad answers, "He's proud. He keeps saying you were easy." I feel something break and whisper, "I trusted him with my whole heart." Lily sits beside me and says, "You're not crazy." I nod. For the first time I actually believe that. My eyes and whisper, "He thinks wrong." I pace the room and say, "So we have truth, but not proof." Lily asks, "What will you do?" I answer, "I will keep fighting even if my hands shake." My mom says, "We'll stand with you." My dad nods. All the way. I whisper, I hear his voice in my head at night saying, "Prove it." Now his mind spills into yours too. Maybe that is our proof in another way. Maybe karma wanted witnesses. The car engine fades. I breathe again and say, "He can't hide from the truth forever." Lily squeezes my hand. "And you don't have to hide from the pain." I whisper, "I won't. Not anymore." Then I add, "He stole my future, but he also revealed." People say she never gives up. He smiles. "Sounds like you now." I laugh weakly. "I'm trying." He asks, "Want me to come?" I say, please. We sit in Ava's office and I say, everything was stolen. I talk about the company, the accounts, the documents, the betrayal, and the voice that still rings inside my head. I finish with, I want to live again. Ava leans forward and says, I'm listening. Keep talking. We print message chains, screenshots, contracts, anything Daniel forgot to bury. I say, I trusted him too much. Jonah replies, that's not a crime. What he did is. On the way home, I stop by Mr. Carter's place and say, I need your advice. He listens and finally says, he will try to bury you. I nod slowly. Let him try. He studies my face and asks, are you afraid? I answer, yes. But I'm still going forward. He sighs, then keep records and don't blink. I say, I won't. I bring the files to Ava and tell her, this is everything. She flips through the pages and says, good, we can work with this. I whisper, for the first time I feel like I'm not a victim anymore. She nods. Hold on to that. That night I sit on my bed and say, I still cry. The tears fall anyway. I wipe them and whisper. But now my tears feel sharp, like weapons. I hear Daniel's voice in my head say, prove it. I answer the darkness, I will. I close my eyes and repeat softly, I won't die like this. I won't fade. I choose to fight. I watch the email leave my outbox and whisper, it's filed. Jonah says, then the fight is real now. I nod and answer, I already live in the fire. When the notice reaches Daniel, he calls me and laughs. He says, you can't touch me. I reply, we'll see. He hangs up still laughing, but the sound feels thinner than before. I tell my family, he thinks I am weak. My dad says, then let him think it while you win. My mom adds, stay steady. I breathe slowly and say, I will. Within weeks, the cracks show. Jonah calls me and says, investors are backing away. They talk about missing reports. I say, he used to let me handle the reports. Jonah answers, now he rewrites numbers and blames everyone else. I whisper, karma is walking. Rumors spread faster than fire. I hear, people are quitting. He is cruel, careless, loud with anger. Each update hurts and heals at the same time. I say, I didn't want his ruin, I only wanted my life back. Lily answers, you wanted truth. Truth can burn. I sit by the window and tell myself, hold steady. Don't chase the noise. Still, my heart beats harder each time his smile cracks in public. One afternoon, Jonah says, another investor pulled out. I answer, he will blame me again. Jonah sighs. He already does. I breathe and say, let him. That evening, the doorbell rings. I open it and see Maya standing there. I say, why are you here? She whispers, he isn't who I thought. I step back and answer, now you know. She looks at the floor and says, he lies. He shouts, he hates weakness, and that means he hates me too. I close my eyes and whisper, I wanted you to believe me before everything broke. She nods. I'm sorry. I tell her, sorry does not heal the hole you helped dig. She wipes her face and says, I still care about you. My chest twists and I reply, I care about what we could have been. She asks, can you ever forgive me? I whisper, I don't know. She says, you sound stronger now. I answer, pain trains the voice. She stands in the doorway and says, he scares the staff. People quit every week. I say, Jonah told me. She nods. They say he throws things and calls them useless. I whisper, he used to call me brother. She answers, he calls you a fool now. The words sting, but I keep my voice steady and say, I have heard worse inside my own head. She says, I wish I had stayed with you. I reply, I wish you had been honest. She wipes her eyes again. I'm leaving him. I nod. Do what you must. I won't chase you or hate you. I don't have room for that anymore. She whispers, you've changed. I say, pain changes a man. I watch her leave and I feel my heart bleed again, but I don't let it stop me. I whisper, the first crack is showing. Jonah calls later and says, more investors walked away today. I answer, then the mask is tearing. He asks, are you okay? I tell him, no, but I'm still standing. That truth surprises me. I breathe and repeat, I am still standing, and the words hold me like a thin shield. I whisper, I won't break while his smile breaks first too. I wake to heavy knocking at the gate, and I whisper, "Please let it be anyone else." My mom says, "It's Daniel." My hands shake, but I say, "Then I face him." Lily says, "We stand with you." My dad answers, "He won't frighten this house." I breathe and tell them, "Stay behind me, but stay close." We step outside together, like a single body made of fear and love. He stands at the gate and calls, "Come out, hero." I say, "Stop shouting at my home." He laughs and says, "You think a lawyer will save you?" I answer, "Truth will." He leans on the metal bars and says, "You're nothing. I'll crush you. Your family too." The words cut, but then something impossible happens. I hear my dad repeat, "You're nothing. I'll crush you. Your family too," in the same cold tone. Daniel freezes. He stares at us and says, "Why did you say that?" My mom steps forward and says, "Because you just thought it." Lily whispers, "We can hear you again." I watch his face drain of color. I say, "The mask is slipping, Daniel." He backs away and mutters, "You can't know what's in my head." My dad repeats another hidden line, sharp as glass. Daniel spins around like the air is spying on him. He shouts, "Get out of my mind." I reply, "You put yourself in ours when you stole my life." My mom says, "We hear pride and dirt. We hear the way you enjoy hurting him." Lily adds, "We hear the part where you swear you will never pay for anything." Daniel trembles. I whisper, "Good. Feel what you gave me." He stares at me and I see fear for the very first time. He says, "You're lying," I answer. "Then test us. Think something ugly and see what we repeat." He swallows and stays quiet, but his eyes shout anyway. My dad speaks the thoughts as they appear: cruelty, greed, loathing. Daniel's voice breaks and he says, "Stop saying my thoughts out loud." I tell him, "Stop feeding them." He grips the bars and begs, "Leave me alone." I say, "I tried to live in peace. You came to my door to frighten me. Now the truth stands here too." My mom says, "Go before your mind spills more poison on this street." Lily whispers, "He can't hide anymore." I take a step forward and say, "I won't chase you. I won't fight dirty. I will just stand and watch your own darkness speak." He backs away from the gate, shaking. He looks at the sky, the road, the trees, like everything can hear him now. I think this is the first crack I've seen, and it's deeper than any bruise he gave me. He says, "You're all cursed," and runs to his car. I whisper, "No, we are blessed with the truth." The engine fades, and I turn to my family and say, "Thank you for not letting me stand alone." My dad answers, "We're not done yet, but he is finally afraid." My mom nods. Lily holds my arm. I close my eyes and breathe. For the first time, I feel strength rising out of my scars instead of pain. I say, "This fear is yours now, not mine." My mom replies, "Rest tonight." I nod and whisper, "Tomorrow I keep fighting, and I won't bow again." My dad says, "We stand beside you until the end, always." I sit by the door and whisper, "Please let this day pass quietly." Tears already burn my eyes, and I say, "I don't have space for more pain." Then the bell rings again. I open it and find Maya on the step with shaking hands. She cries, "He used me. He hates everyone." I answer, "You chose him." She sobs, "I was wrong." I breathe, "Say what you came to say." She whispers, "Please forgive me." My chest twists so hard that I grab the frame. I say, "I still love you, but I also love the person I used to be, and you broke him." She lowers her head and murmurs, "I know." I say, "I wish you had stayed when I had nothing." She whispers, "I ran because I was afraid." I answer, "Fear doesn't excuse betrayal." She pleads, "Help me. He scares me now." I close my eyes and reply, "I won't let anyone hurt you, but I can't erase what you did to me." She says, "I thought he was strong." I answer, "He is loud, not strong." She sighs, "He never cared about me." I whisper, "He never cared about anyone." She nods, "I hear the things he thinks about you." I ask, "Do you hear how empty his heart sounds?" She wipes her face and says, "Yes." I breathe, "Silence is all I have left." She asks, "Does that mean you forgive me?" I look at the floor and say nothing. The quiet stretches like a wire between us. She whispers, "Your silence hurts." I nod and whisper, "It hurts me too." I want to scream. I want to hold her. Instead, I stand still and let the silence speak for me. She finally says, "I will go." I answer, "Do what you need to survive." She whispers, "I hope you heal." I reply, I hope you learn. She asks, will you ever love me again? I whisper, right now I only love the man I'm trying to rebuild. She turns away in tears, and I shut the door softly. My mom calls, are you okay? I answer, no, but I will be. Lily says, silence can be armor. I whisper, it is all I have left. Jonah texts, do you need me? I reply, not tonight. I sit alone and say, that silence hurt us both, but it also saved me. I whisper, I still love her, but I also love the broken boy I used to be. My dad says, then protect that boy. I nod and answer, I will. He asks, do you regret helping her now? I reply, no, I regret believing betrayal was love. My mom whispers, rest. I say, soon. I walk to my room and stare at the quiet walls. I tell the dark, I won't chase anyone who walks away. I hear my own voice answer, good. I lie down and whisper, tomorrow I will keep fighting for what is left of me. Lily knocks softly and asks, want tea? I laugh a little and say, sit with me instead. She replies, always. I tell her, silence feels less heavy when you share it. She nods and whispers, I won't let you fall. I answer, I already fell, but I'm learning how to stand. She smiles through tears and says, and this is the start. I whisper, yes, this is the start of the man I will become. I close my eyes and breathe. I walk into the courthouse and whisper, this place eats time. My mom says, stay strong. Ava nods and says, tell the truth and let me handle the lies. Jonah squeezes my shoulder and says, every record is ready. I answer, then let's finish this. We sit and wait, and the clock barely moves. I tell myself, court is slow and cruel. When Daniel walks in, he smiles like he owns the floor. I whisper, he still thinks charm is honor. Ava says, let him talk. He will cut himself. The judge calls the case. Daniel stands and speaks like breathing. He says, I never stole. I protected the company. Ethan agreed to everything. I whisper, lie after lie. Ava rises and says, then explain the hidden transfers. Jonah hands her the files. She lays them out like blades. She says, dates, signatures, rerouted accounts, and private withdrawals. Daniel laughs and says, all fake. Ava replies, then explain the emails in your own voice. She reads them out loud. My heart pounds. He still keeps talking. He says, I was helping him. He was weak. I whisper, I was hurt, not weak. The judge asks questions. Ava answers quietly but sharp. Old files appear like ghosts I thought were gone. Jonah leans over and whispers, backups never die. I nod and say, thank you. Little by little, Daniel's story falls apart. I watch his smile crack. He tries to charm the room. I'm the victim, he says. People shift in their seats. Ava says, the victim is the man he ruined. She points at me. I stand and say, he drained every account and called it business. Daniel rolls his eyes and says, he should thank me. Ava says, the evidence says otherwise. The judge studies the trail. Stolen funds, fake transfers, manipulation, silent signatures. I hear the words echo through the room. I think, finally, someone sees the pattern. Daniel starts talking faster. He blames me, Jonah, the bank, the market, even fate. Ava keeps cutting the excuses in half. She says, answer the question. He sweats and smiles at the same time. But the charm fails. I watch the moment it dies. Silence lands like a stone. When the session ends, I step outside and breathe. Daniel follows with dark eyes. He glares at me and mutters without sound. I can almost hear the same words my family heard. I should have finished him. A chill slides down my back, but I don't flinch. I say, you can't hurt me like before. He sneers and says, you think this is over? I answer, no. I think I am done being your victim. Ava joins us and says, we did well today. Jonah nods and says, every lie cracked. I whisper, thank you for fighting with me. My mom hugs me and says, you are not alone. I look at my hands and say, I'm not the same broken man. That night I sit on my bed and whisper, court is slow, but truth is steady. I still feel fear in my chest, but it no longer rules me. I say, he can glare, lie, and dream about destroying me, but I will not bow. My voice sounds different now, stronger. I breathe out and say, tomorrow I return, and tomorrow I am still me. I whisper, I will not break again. Lily replies, You bent and healed. I answer, then let tomorrow come and let me stand. I stand at the window and whisper, I never thought I'd see this day. My mom says, investors are suing him now. I reply, I heard. Jonah calls and says, his company died this morning. I answer, I thought he would live inside that mask forever. Jonah sighs. People finally talk about how he treats everyone. I murmur, it spreads like fire. Lily sits beside me and says, Maya left him. I nod. I guess she would. My dad says, his friends vanished too. I whisper, friends built from fear are sand. Later, I step outside for air and I see Daniel across the street. I say, you look tired. He answers, we need to talk. I reply, about which lie? He frowns. Everything is falling apart. I tell him, I warned you. He steps closer. My family joins me like a wall I never had before. He tries to smile and thinks silent poison. My mom repeats his thoughts back to him, word for word. Lily does too. My dad follows. I add, we hear you. Daniel's face empties of color. He whispers, get out of my head. I answer, you put those thoughts there. He says, I hate you. My mom calmly echoes the same words and he stumbles like the ground moved. He tries again. I only wanted power. Lily quietly repeats it. He spins, searching the air. I whisper, your mind has finally turned against you. He mutters, everyone can hear. I reply, only the people you tried to break. He grips the gate and asks, why can't you stop? I say, I don't even try. The truth spills on its own. He paces and thinks uglier things. My dad repeats each one without emotion. Daniel shakes his head. You're cursing me. I whisper, no, karma just found its voice. He begs, say something kind. I answer, I won't lie for you anymore. He says, help me. I reply, you never helped me when I begged. Maya appears at the corner and says, I'm done with him. I nod, go where you can heal. Daniel snarls inside and my family speaks the thought aloud. Maya covers her mouth and whispers, so that's what he really is. I say, yes, that is what I lived with. He tries to charm me again. We were brothers. I answer, I was a shield you used. He pleads, start over. I whisper, I already did. He curses inside, and again his own darkness sings back at him through my family's voices. He looks like a man trapped inside his own skull, locked in a cage he built himself. I don't touch him. I don't yell. I just stand there and watch his mask crumble in daylight. He backs away and says, everywhere I go, people repeat my thoughts. I reply, maybe now you'll hear yourself. He whispers, I can't live like this. I answer, I already lived like this when you filled my head with fear. He walks to his car, thinking bitter fire, and the last line spills out of Lily's mouth without effort. He freezes again, then leaves with shaking hands. I feel the weight slip from my shoulders at last. I whisper, for the first time I feel light. My mom asks, happy? I answer, not happy, just free. My dad says, sometimes freedom is enough. Jonah texts, he can't hide from himself anymore. I reply, I don't have to chase him either. I sit on the steps and breathe. I say, karma walks beside him now. Lily leans on me and whispers, and peace walks beside you. I nod, yes. Peace finally remembered my name. I walk out of the courthouse and whisper, we won. My mom hugs me and says, some of the money will come back. I nod. Not all, but enough to breathe. My dad says, your life starts again today. I answer, then let it start slowly. Lily laughs and says, slow is fine. I don't ever want to hear anyone's thoughts again. I smile. I hope you never do. Ava shakes my hand and says, you fought hard. I reply, you believed in me when I barely did. Jonah stands beside me and says, ready to rebuild? I whisper, yes, this time with eyes open. He grins, then let's clean the wreckage and build something honest. Back at home I tell my parents I want the company to grow like a tree, not like a fire. My dad nods. Roots before branches. My mom says, and rest before work. I laugh. I'll try. Lily sits on the arm of the couch and says, promise me you'll take weekends. I answer, I promise I'll at least think about weekends. She rolls her eyes. Good enough. The next week's filled with quiet work. I say to Jonah, let's reopen the old files and start fresh. He answers, no shortcuts this time. I reply, no heroes either, just partners. He smiles. Partners works. My parents start smiling again at breakfast. I say, it feels lighter here. My mom answers, grief doesn't live in the walls anymore. My dad adds, only dust and coffee. I laugh because it sounds like home. Lily jokes one night, if anyone ever parks outside and thinks cruel things, I'm moving. I tell her, I'll help you pack. She laughs and says, I'm serious. I whisper, I know, me too. Then a long email arrives from Maya. I read it slowly. She writes, I'm sorry, I was blind, I hope you heal. I sit with the screen glowing and say, I forgive you. Lily asks, will you write back? I answer, no. Some doors stay closed even when the hinges are fixed. She nods. That's still forgiveness. I whisper, yes, just not return. One evening I stand outside alone and breathe in the cold air. I say, this sky looks like the one from before everything broke. Jonah calls and asks, are you okay? I answer, I'm thinking about that boy who trusted too fast. He says, I liked him. I whisper, I liked him too, but he didn't know how to protect himself. Jonah replies, and the man? I say, the man rose from ashes and learned. After the call I keep talking to the night. I was soft. I was faithful. I was slow to see danger. The wind moves across my face and I add, but I am not ashamed of who I was. I only refuse to stay there. My chest loosens as I say it. My mom opens the door and asks, cold? I reply, a little. She says, you look peaceful. I whisper, for the first time since Daniel betrayed me, my chest doesn't hurt. She smiles. Then keep choosing peace. I nod and say, I choose me now. I stay outside a while longer and breathe. I think about every night I almost broke, every morning. I forced myself to stand, and every voice that lifted me when I fell. I whisper, I choose me now, again, softer, like a prayer that finally came true. Then I walk back inside, not healed in every place, but free enough to live.